Diddy won't stop firing and hiring his lawyers in hopes of getting out of jail, but there's no attorney out there who can explain why Diddy has hundreds of accusers and the horrific stories they have to share. So let's get into it. Diddy is now breaking records in the most disturbing way possible, with more than 120 additional accusers coming forward. I mean, really think about that. We've had so many other people come forward. Now we've got 120 more, with a lot of those being minors when they were harmed. Now there's this lawyer who I'm a huge fan of. He's based in Texas and his name is Tony Busby, and he's got a bunch of people who are coming forward. And like I said, 120 people. Sit there and imagine how many people that fills up an entire gym.
My name is Tony Busby. I'm a lawyer here in Houston. As many of you know, our law firm has been at the forefront of some of the most important litigation in the United States. We like the tough cases. We thrive in the complicated cases. We've handled over the last 25 years some very big and very important cases. I believe that this one may surpass them all.
I feel excited for Tony, not because I want to hear about these horrible tragedies, but there is a man who's willing to put his face, his life on the line, because we're dealing with some really scary people. I mean, Diddy's inner circle. And actually even Tony revealed that there's going to be some names that will surprise us. So there's a lot of powerful people who are going down with Diddy, and thank God for him willing to go and put himself forward to represent these people and ultimately get them justice. Tony added that there were companies and individuals who were aware of and profited off of turning a blind eye to Diddy's misconduct, which keeps me questioning if TriStar is going to be indicted, because they were raided. TriStar is the firm that put Britney Spears in a conservatorship. They're an entertainment management firm right up on Sunset. They've got a huge office, and they, at least in my opinion, tend to operate in a sketchy way, allegedly. I mean, Britney coined Liam Taylor as the person who put her in a conservatorship, and this is someone who's worked with Diddy, with Justin Bieber, who actually Justin Bieber fired her. So there's another red flag. Tony was quoted saying, "The biggest secret in the entertainment industry that wasn't a secret at all has finally been revealed to the world. The wall of silence has now been broken." It looks like there's actually a good amount of men and women coming forward, about an equal amount. So we don't have more women or more men. It's really right down the line in the middle. So I would assume that, you know, Diddy's obviously someone who is bisexual. But really before that, he's just a monster. The victims range in age from 9 to 38 years old. There have been lawyers who have been sifting through these cases. We've got a bunch of people coming forward, and actually a team of lawyers decided at least 100 of the cases were considered credible. So that's a crazy amount that they are willing to take that to a judge and convict him over it. They feel like there's enough evidence. Let's go ahead and react to some of what Tony has to say together.
We are vetting every call that we receive. We have had to turn away some. For each, we ask for corroboration. For each, we ask for the identity of witnesses. We also have collected pictures, videos, texts. We check venues, we check dates. We want to corroborate that the claims being made have legitimacy and merit. We have on staff now a former detective from the Major Offenders Unit of Houston Police Department who is helping us vet each claim.
I do appreciate that Tony starts with this, because I feel like when there are so many cases coming forward, there's like an automatic narrative that like it's a witch hunt, or possibly you start to get blind to these individual victims. Each of their stories deserves to be listened to. But when there's so many of them, we kind of get like fatigued as people who are consuming this news. So I'm glad that he's taking the time to go and thoroughly announce that, you know, we've gone through the measures to add up the storylines. There's not going to be a time for you to go and even sit and question whether like these are facts or not. We've done that work for you. And I think that's why this investigation has been going on for so long, because they wanted to do their due diligence. And I'm sure like him getting locked up has kind of pushed everything forward, because they're going to want to group all of these cases into one gigantic class action lawsuit. And I don't know how Diddy's going to go through this.
As I said, our law firms have been retained by 120 individuals at this point to pursue cases in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs. You should know In this group, it is evenly divided between males and females. There are 60 males and 60 females who have joined us to pursue these claims as plaintiffs. In this group, 62% identify as African American, 30% are white, and the remainder are Hispanic or Asian. The victims are from more than 25 states. The majority are from California, New York, Georgia, and Florida. And I want to focus
Interesting, because that's where he had his property, so that would make sense.
on the ages of these victims. When we talk about the ages of the victims when the conduct occurred, it's shocking. Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old.
I can't even remember being 9 years old, really. I mean, not. I'm sure I have some lost, random memories, but not a distinct, consciousness. And I cannot imagine being put in that situation. Diddy, burn in hell. Burn in hell. Do it. Cook. Broil him down there.
We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15. 25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of.
Oh, interesting. So this is not a class action lawsuit. At least it's not now. But let's be clarified that this is not a class action lawsuit, and all the cases will be filed individually, which I wonder what that entails. Defendants will include banks, pharmaceutical companies, and hotels, and he also claims there are other people involved who will be named at a later date. Comment below, who do you guys think those other names could be? I mean, I would assume his Ghislaine Maxwell sidekick, who we exposed to Christina, but who else? I want to see what you guys say before I start running my mouth.
Typical MO at one of these parties that have been widely discussed in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something, if you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party was that you had to drink the chosen drink that was handed to you, and now we know that in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, these individuals were drugged with some sort of drug. That was kind of the MO.
It's giving me like sacrificial energy. Like they're bringing this person in, knowingly drugging them, and then using them, taking advantage of them. It's like a ritual. And to think that possibly like this 9-year-old boy would be like harmed. I mean, this kid was promised an audition with a record deal, but then was SA'd by Diddy.
This individual, who was 9 years old at the time, was taken to an audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was used allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal.
Another accuser was 15 years old when they were flown out to New York City to attend a party where they were then given drugs and taken into a private room with Diddy, where he and other people just did whatever they wanted to this victim. Imagine the worst thing possible, and that's it.
Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her.
Words can't even describe. I mean, I'm sure all of you guys have the stomach wrenching feeling as well, where it's just like unimaginable, but also what we kind of been talking about in a sometimes theoretical way when it comes to just the Hollywood, industry. But truly, this is a representation of actual victims and actual situations and actual celebrities who are going to be actually exposed and probably imprisoned. I mean, truly, how could Diddy pay his way out of this?
Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her and her ass, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes.
So he literally just told us a story about them picking up someone from the airport, drugging her right away, and then her waking up the next day. Like, I don't know, who knows what they did to her. That's so scary. It looks like a lot of them were forced to ingest I'm going to butcher this. Xylazine? It was I can't say that. Xylazine. I'm assuming this is like some type of tranquilizer, a horse tranquilizer, which we see ketamine becoming more and more popular. You saw what happened to Matthew Perry. They like to consume this kind of drug, or actually force their victims to consume it, because they completely disassociate and they can't speak or defend themselves.
Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn and sore.
The fact that he did this to a pregnant woman is so frightening. It shows that is he possessed? Like, I've never really thought about possessions before, but I'm feeling a true demon. A demon is in our presence, and I feel like Erica Wolf is just as bad defending Diddy, saying that they cannot go and address all of these allegations because there's far too many. So they'll frankly deny them all, which I just think is really sad, sick, and it shows me that they really need to pursue justice if they've got someone who's so in denial and so non-sympathetic. I mean, and also screw all these other celebrities defending Diddy, saying, oh yeah, Boozy saying that, he's just doing what everyone did. Well, did you do this, Boozy? Because I think we should probably investigate you and anyone else who thinks that, doing this to a 9-year-old, 15-year-old, a pregnant woman, a 26-year-old, picking her up from the airport, that's someone's daughter, sister, family member. It's sick, and he is a danger. Now, it looks like there are some people from Diddy's past who are now handing over some tapes that have incriminating evidence. One interaction that was revealed happened in May 2023, so relatively recently. The SEX worker flew from Atlanta to Miami to meet up with Diddy and another woman. Another person is coming out to reveal that they claim they are actually harmed by Diddy, drugged by Diddy, and what he typically does to someone. But in this instance, they got pregnant. Jane Doe claims that Diddy repeatedly harmed her over a 4-year period and says one of the encounters resulted in her getting pregnant, but she had a miscarriage. She met Diddy back in fall 2020, so again, not long ago at all, and was invited to join Diddy on an all-expense paid trip. She saw Diddy on the regular through 2021 and 2022. Despite her seeing him over this time, she didn't want to see him. He forced his way into her life using harassing language and then sending drivers to show up at her home to take her to Diddy, making it feel like she didn't have a choice in the matter. She also claims that Diddy occasionally spiked alcohol beverages, forcing her to get physical with him even when she didn't want to. In spring 2022, she claims to have sustained physical injuries from her encounters with Diddy, purple bruises and a bite mark on her feet, and she claims she doesn't remember how she got the injuries. She also accuses Diddy of forcing her to take ketamine and other drugs, which ultimately resulted in her blacking out. In an incident in July 2022, she blacked out, and that's when she got pregnant. She claims that Diddy's associates called her repeatedly, harassing her to get it removed, having a procedure, but she ultimately suffered a miscarriage. She tried to get space from Diddy after the miscarriage, but she claims that he would allegedly harass her with calls and texts. And this all continued until July 2024, so right up until recently. She also claims that he found some way to track her location and monitor her conversations. So she feared for her safety and also witnessed Diddy slapping and abusing other women in her presence. So she claims Diddy continues to contact her to this day, attempting to control and intimidate her. So I wonder how recent, like through jail, is he calling? Diddy has been trying to put together a dream team legal counsel to save him from this mess that he's put himself into, but he continues to fire them and then fire them again. So maybe third time is the charm. Diddy has added 2 more attorneys. It looks like Anthony Ricco and Alexandra Shapiro. It looks like Anthony is known as one of the finest trial lawyers in the country, and Alexandra has been called one of the best appellate lawyers practicing today. And to sum up this video, I do want to give a quick shout out to Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams has been calling this for years, and she's finally weighing in on all the Diddy drama. Her views are pretty much what you would expect. She said many people have been approaching her recently to give her credit for calling out Diddy long ago. She said, "What's really weird is that I've been told by so many people, Wendy, you called it, including some people from my family who have said the same." Wendy described all of this coming to fruition as horrific, especially that video with Cassie, contemplating how many more times Diddy may have harmed women, as well as the number of possible victims, saying it's just so horrible. I'm glad that Wendy is on speaking terms. I mean, I feel like last time we saw her in the documentary, she wasn't doing well at all, so that sounds like she can at least give a good take. Maybe the world is healing. Wendy's coming back. Diddy's going into jail. I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.